we'll go back to where Stuart located his headquarters. The Bower was built by, the property here was acquired by Adam Stephen in the 1770s. He was a noted soldier on the frontier, an important player in the French and Indian War, a friend of George Washington, and had a notable career in the Continental Army until the Battle of Germantown, in which he was with Greene's column, and either three sheets to the wind or confused by the fog, he got lost. And the Americans were winning the Battle of Germantown up for about 2 hours into it when Stephen's men fired in the fog into the back of another group of people, and he was cashiered. Now, his daughter will marry into the Dandridge family, and the house is built in the there was a lodge down here when Adam Stephen lived here. He built, this house here was built around between 1803 and 1807. It was built by Adam Dandridge, who would be his mother was a Stephen. And this will be the ideal place for Stuart to establish his headquarters. And he arrives here on the 27th day, the 28th day of September, 1862. 8 days, 9 days, however you want to take it, after the Battle of Antietam. His cavalry is to cover the crossings of the Potomac River from Harper's Ferry northward to Williamsport. And this is an ideal place for him to establish his headquarters. He has 3 brigades of cavalry under him, as I said before. The brigade is usually commanded by Fitzhugh Lee, now commanded by Rooney Lee, who would be Fitzhugh's first cousin, Rooney being the second son of Robert E. Lee. He has a brigade commanded by Wade Hampton of South Carolina, born in 1814, arguably one of the wealthiest men in the South, a lawyer, a politician, and who had organized the Hampton Legion. Another brigade commanded by Matthew C. Butler, who is commander of the, he will be the second in command of Hampton's brigade, leader of the 2nd South Carolina Cavalry, which will have an important role on the raid. The other brigade is commanded by a man who was Stuart. His relationship is like oil and water. They don't get along. They have a very acerbic relationship, and Jones is a misanthrope. Originally, he had been quite gregarious, but while he's taking his wife, who is a newlywed, from a post in Virginia to San Francisco, a wave sweeps her overboard and she drowns. Hence, his whole psychology changes. He becomes a hermit as such, and is the original colonel of the 1st Virginia Cavalry. In his mind, when the Confederate Army reorganizes in response to the bounty and reenlistment law in April 1862, Stuart engineers it so that Fitzhugh Lee, who Stuart likes well, will be elected colonel of the 1st Virginia. So needless to say, they become enemies from that day. So the 3 brigades of cavalry are deployed, watching various stretches of the river and the fords, and this is a central point, as you saw on your map. It's also a nice building. The Dandridges have 5 very attractive daughters, between the youngest being 18 and the oldest being in her early 20s. They have 3 sons in the Confederate Army, so naturally they welcome Stuart and his headquarters here. As I say, Stuart, his staff and their orderlies total about 100 men. So they will go down where Stuart, normally the husband, but he's got to go to work, usually gives